Are going to get started. We wanted to introduce some other people that are on this Zoom. So if they happen to call out some answers to questions that Ms. Whalen and I don't know, you know that they're legit. They are here with us at Criminal Intermediate. They're going to be helping us to kind of watch the chat. If you guys have questions, some of our other counselors are going to be hopping onto the chat to make sure that your questions are being answered. At the end of our PowerPoint, we also have a Google form where you can submit additional questions that we may not have time to answer in our 45 minutes. And we're also recording this session just so you guys know, so we can share it with you hopefully on our website as well. So I'm just going to introduce some people that I see on here. I'll start with our counselors. Our 7th grade and lead counselor is Miss Amy Thompson. She's somewhere in your squares, Amy.
Hey guys.
That way your face will pop up to the front. Our 8th grade counselor is Priscilla Hurst.
Hello, everyone.
I'm introducing everyone because if you've never been at Criminal, you'll soon learn that it is truly a team effort. Just because we're assigned to 6th grade doesn't mean that we don't help with 7th and 8th grade, and same with 7th and 8th grade. Just because they're not assigned to 6th grade, we help out wherever we can. So I want to introduce next our math specialist, Ms. Trisha Verkiadis.
Hi.
She is going to be sharing with you guys some super important information about math. Our administrators are on here as well. Our building principal, Mr. Prentice Harper.
Hi guys, it's good to meet you.
Our 7th grade assistant principal, Mr. Ryan Youngblood.
Hello.
So I saw his square, but I couldn't remember what screen he was on. And then our 8th grade associate principal is Miss Stephanie Langner.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so now that we have the introductions complete, we're gonna just jump right in. I'll start with, we start every meeting with parents, with our faculty and our staff with our district vision. And that is just to bring to the center of why we do everything in Klein ISD. Our students are at the center of everything we do. But then on the outlying areas, we also want to include our families by building community. We also work to reimagine learning and cultivate talent. And so our goal tonight is to build community, help with communication, answer any questions that you guys have, and to build our relationships from the get-go.
So here at Criminal, we really live by our 5 core values: compassion, integrity, responsibility, service, and respect. These are all around our building. We talk about these every Monday in our Quest lessons. We talk about these daily in our classes, as we're doing lessons, as we are working on discipline. Just any way we can, we make sure we tie in these 5 core values. They really do drive everything we do. This is something that as an incoming 6th grader, you are going to hear quite a bit about our core values, and that is something we are very, very proud of.
Okay, so just to give you an idea of what a day would look like at Criminal Intermediate, our times are very different than the elementary. We do start later. I'm not going to go through all of this in detail for the sake of time, but our tardy bell this year for first period rang at 8:46. Should be very similar to that next year. All 6th graders eat lunch together during a lunch, and this year that was from 11:16 to 11:46. And then they are dismissed from the building at 4:17. So that just kind of gives you an idea. I know if you're coming from elementary, like I said, it's a little bit different. They do start a little bit later.
Okay, so a day in the life of an average 6th grader with that schedule, they have 2 periods of English language arts, 1 period of math, 1 period of science, 1 period of social studies, and then they get a fine arts elective and a PE elective. They need 2 years of physical education in junior high to meet the state's requirements. So that happens in 6th and 7th grade. And then our 8th period is our Quest period. It's an intervention and enrichment period that we use for character education. We use for, like I said, enrichment and intervention. And that falls in as their 8th period. And then somewhere in the middle, they have lunch with just the 6th graders, like Ms. Brager said.
Okay, so as you can see on this screen, oh, sorry. Okay. Usually the biggest concern for parents coming from the elementary is, oh my gosh, you know, they're moving from class to class. They're not being walked with their teachers. You know, it's super stressful. And we want to reassure you that your kids are going to be okay. So the first few days of school, there are so many people every day actually, but especially the first couple of weeks of school, there are extra people on duty in the hallways to help them find their classes. But we really wanted to show you, and it's not going to show up on my screen, but over here on the very far left is the cafeteria and the front door. Over here where the purple arrows are, those are all of our 6th grade core elective class or core content classes, math, reading, science, social studies. If you go up to these 2 arrows that are pointing up, those are our fine arts classes. Again, very, very, very close to our core content classes. And then if you continue down, the only other area that the kiddos will be going to is the gym and the locker rooms. And those are all very close. Our 6th graders, except for a couple, stay downstairs in the general area of where those purple arrows are. So they are not having to run up and down the stairs, back and forth between each class period. They are all very centrally located and they catch on very, very quickly to their schedules and where their classes are. They've done a great job with it this year, and I know your kiddos will do a great job with it next year as well.
Does it change? Okay, so another big question that a lot of incoming 6th graders have are the Chromebooks and the textbooks. So we do issue every student at Krimmel a Chromebook. Usually it happens during the 2nd to 3rd week of school, and it involves an insurance payment, accidental insurance payment. That could change this next year, but for sure they will get a Chromebook. They also will not have a physical textbook in their possession. They are going to have access to their textbooks online or a class set in the classroom. So this is different. This is a learning curve for some parents just because we are so used to having the physical copy of the textbook, but just about everything we do here is digital. And so they will definitely have access to those textbooks in their classroom. And it's been a pretty good transition for us, and I think you'll enjoy that as well.
Okay, we touched on Quest just a little bit, but this is one of the main questions that we get from parents once school starts. So we wanted to make sure we explained it ahead of time. Quest is a non-graded class period. It's 3rd period. We use this for a variety of different things. Intervention in the core content sections if they need extra help in math, science, social studies, or reading. We primarily this year focused on math and reading. We also have teachers serve as mentors, and they monitor kids to check to make sure they're making progress. And like Ms. Whalen says, we focus a lot on our character education program, our Krimmel core values. Last year, we were awarded from character.org, a honorable mention when we submitted our application to be a state school of character. So hopefully this year, in just a couple of weeks, we will be recognized as a state school of character, but we don't find out for a little bit. But and then also enrichment can be during Quest. Sometimes our band will pull kids for extra help with band. Sometimes our athletic teachers pull them for extra practice or drills or so on and so forth. It's really used for a variety of different reasons to help meet the students where they're at and push them a little bit further.
Lunch is always an exciting topic. Like we said, I think this is the 3rd time. 6th graders will eat lunch together. They have our first lunch, and they will have assigned seats with their 4th period class. This just kind of helps with eliminating the, I don't want to sit by myself. I want to make sure I have a friend the first day. This really helps with that. We always recommend that they bring their lunch the first couple of days, just because the lunch lines get a little hectic and a little crazy. And this kind of cuts down on the anxiety of all of that. You are allowed to, well, in pre-COVID times, we'll see what happens next year. In years past, you have been allowed to bring food to your student, but only feed your student. And then you could come and eat lunch with them as well. We don't know what the COVID restrictions will hold next year, but that's a possibility that you could come and eat with your student, which is always fun for them to see. But just make sure that you're just feeding your own and not anybody else's.
Okay, another big, I feel like I have all the cause for concern slides that parents
You're
usually
welcome.
have questions on. PE is very different than elementary PE. In middle school, they do dress out for their PE class. They'll be assigned uniforms when parents pay for those at the beginning of the school year. They will be given a locker in the locker room where they can keep their tennis shoes, deodorant, personal hygiene type items for the week in their own locker. They do dress down. It's a t-shirt and shorts. They're expected to wear tennis shoes every day of the week. And then the coaches remind them to take those uniforms home on the weekends and get them washed and brought back for the next week. They do not usually dress out the first 2 weeks of school. The coaches want to get the kids used to coming in the locker room, making sure they know the procedures, routines. They want to keep the kids safe. Otherwise, it would kind of be a free for all. So the coaches do a really great job of making sure that all students know the routines and procedures. And then they will pass out uniforms about the second week of school, and dressing out usually starts after, in a normal school year, it starts after Labor Day. It started a little bit later this year. In sixth grade, UIL does not exist for sixth graders, so we do not have sport teams at the middle school level. We do have many kids that play on select teams or club teams outside of school, but there are no recognized sporting teams at the sixth grade level. Those are saved for 7th and 8th grade years.
Okay, but one of the things we're super excited about and very proud of on our campus are our clubs and organizations. Sixth graders can join any of the clubs and organizations that we do have. I think this link will take us to that screen. We've got the Baking Club, DI, Environmental Club, tons and tons of opportunities for your kiddos to get involved. Right off the top of my head, the National Junior Honor Society is for 7th and 8th graders, but just about everything else is available to our 6th grade students. Now, this is going to be, if I can get back to that screen, it's going
Go to the one on the far left, the orange
that
one.
one. Okay. So yes, our clubs are, most of the time they meet after school, but 6th graders are always invited to join. There we go.
I'm actually going to let Miss Whalen talk about this because she's the expert on the course selection dashboard.
So you guys are going to start signing up for your courses in 6th grade very soon through your elementary school. So one thing that I want to say right off the bat is we are always here to support you and help you and answer questions. But when it comes to course selection for 6th grade, those questions really do need to be directed towards your elementary school for a couple of reasons. They are in charge of inputting those course selections, but they also know your kiddos more than we do at this point. So they're really going to be the ones to ask questions. However, we do want to make sure you know where to find information for our course selections. And we know the elementary schools, they did a great job of sending out our flyer for this evening. So they are getting information to you, but we have a Criminal course selection dashboard that you can find on the Criminal school website. If you go to criminal.kleinisd.net and then counseling page, it'll take you to our course selection dashboard. You'll click on 6th grade, and then it'll have all of our courses that we offer to 6th graders here. One of the things that you're going to notice right off the bat is that it says English or math or whatever sort, well, not math, English, science, and social studies will say English 6th, English Klein Prep, and English Humanities, or whatever it is. Klein Prep is the old pre-AP. We are no longer using the terminology of pre-AP. You will find those courses listed as Klein Prep courses. It's the same curriculum, it's the same rigor, it's just a new name. So if you click on English 6th, it'll give you a description of the course, and then there is a video explaining the course through the eyes of the teacher. So some of them are students, as you can see here, but it is a video that will explain to you exactly what to expect from that course. And it goes, there are videos and course descriptions for everything. So there are course descriptions for everything. There are videos for most things. Our art program has a video for us, I believe, and a description. So these are all great resources for you if you have questions about that. The main thing I want to drive home is the two main things. If you have questions about course selections, direct those towards your elementary school because they are in charge of that, but also this website will answer any questions, hopefully, that you have about the specific courses. Which this is kind of what I just talked about too. For English language arts, we've got regular level, Klein Prep, and then our GT humanities course. Social studies, we've got regular and then Klein Prep as well with GT. And then we have math, and this is where it gets slightly confusing. So we have hired an expert to come talk to us tonight, Miss Trisha Verkianis. She's going to tell you everything about the math. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, so math is different. And the thing that makes math different is that we have three very distinct pathways that students can enter into when they come to Cromwell. And we want to take a moment to discuss them because they lead to different places. So let's take a look. We have sixth grade on level. We have sixth grade advanced, and you'll notice that we're not using the Klein Prep name. We already went through rebranding and we are using advanced. And then our third course that you could take in sixth grade is called sixth grade accelerated. Now, there's more to a student than their data points. We all know that. But when we're able to give a parent a data point to grab a hold of, it tends to help them think clearer about their student. So one of the things that we want you to think about is not that about our STAR, because we know that y'all are lacking a fourth grade STAR data point right now because of AHL last year. So instead, I want to turn our attention to MAP data. Your fifth grade student has either completed their middle of the year MAP data or they're about to complete their middle of the year MAP data. You will know that your sixth grade student fits the profile of a sixth grade accelerated student if their middle of the year MAP data for fifth grade is somewhere in that 225 range. A RIT score of 225 at the middle of the year, fifth grade, shows that that student is one academic year ahead, and that would fit the profile of an accelerated student. If your middle of the year MAP data point for fifth grade is somewhere around that 215 to 225, then your student probably fits the advanced profile. And then if your student scored around a 214, then you are probably fitting the sixth grade on level path. The thing I think is the most important is all three paths are great, and all three paths will lead to future success. It's just a different way to get there. It's not a competition. So when you're looking at the three courses, the sixth grade on level, they are going to focus on building a strong foundation using just the sixth grade TEKS. Sixth grade advanced, they're going to be teaching the sixth grade skills with half of the seventh grade skills. The accelerated class, we're going to roll sixth, seventh, and eighth grade all into one school year. So that classroom is going to move at a much quicker pace as we work to get all three grade levels fit into the same period of time that the other courses are moving through one grade level. When you start looking at how your student learns, an accelerated math student is able to not only acquire the information quickly, but then they're able to apply it and see connections in the world around them and think past what was shared by the teacher. An advanced student might require a little bit of teacher guidance, but once they get it, then they can see multiple concepts fitting together all at the same time. A sixth grade on-level student requires direct instruction from the teacher in order to acquire new skills. The other distinct difference between our courses is if you select the accelerated path and you're ready to roll 3 math courses into one, your student will be algebra ready in the 7th grade, and they will take their first high school math course. In the 8th grade, those same students will be ready for geometry. So an accelerated student will have completed 2 high school math courses prior to exiting Krimmel. Although they count towards your high school degree plan, they will not count towards your GPA. So be very mindful of that. These are the students who, once they get to high school, are looking to take those advanced math courses because they're on an engineering type pathway. They have a passion for math and they see themselves landing in a job that's very math driven. Advanced students will be algebra ready in the 8th grade. So by the time they leave Krimmel, they'll have 1 high school math credit and they'll be ready to start geometry as a freshman at their high school. 6th grade math students will take 6th grade and 6th grade and 7th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade and 8th grade, but you can still enter the advanced pathways once you get to high school. It's perfectly okay to build a strong foundation using our on-level courses here at middle school. And then once you get to your high school, you're ready to accelerate through the pre-AP courses that your high school has to offer, if that is your choice. So all 3 are great and all 3 will lead to future success. The other thing we need you to think about is that once we get to high school, your students are not sheltered. So if you're thinking about, ooh, accelerated really is for my kid, I want you to think forward to when your student is a freshman sitting at Oak, Collins, Klein High, etc. They will be a 9th grader sitting in courses with 11th grade students. We're not going to keep them in a classroom by themselves. A lot of parents come back and they didn't realize that that was going to be the case at the high school level. So just kind of think forward that it's not just about academics, it's also about social and emotional maturity. Are your students going to be able to be in that kind of environment when they get to the high school level? The last thing that's important to know about our courses is that if you choose the accelerated pathway and you realize that it's not for you, that your student is struggling and man, you really wish you had made another choice, the time to exit is January. Once you get through 2nd semester, we have to send your child on to algebra. And so we really need you to spend the 1st semester thinking, is this the pathway for my kid? And hopefully it is, but if it's not, we want you to know what your options are. And for advanced, we have a little bit more leeway. If your student makes it all the way through 6th grade advanced, their last time to exit the advanced pathway would be 7th grade. In December, starting the 2nd semester. So there are some options, but we want you to be aware of those deadlines as we move through that 1st semester. Your course selection sheet's going to look something similar to this. You're going to select the course that best suits your student. And again, I can't reiterate it enough with what Ms. Whalen said. Your current 5th grade student or teacher knows your child well. They know their study habits. They know their classroom habits. They know their learning styles. So if you're on the fence about which math course to take, please consult your 5th grade math teacher. They know your kid. So you're going to select the correct box. If you're GT, there's the GT box. But then once you've made your choice, we have a huge little learning gap that takes place between 5th grade and 6th grade. Your students are going to be making new friends. They're going to be trying out new things. And there's going to be a social and emotional growth that's taking place with your students as well. So as they enter this more rigorous course load and they're growing in many different ways, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. And those straight A students might start to experience a B or maybe even a C. So don't panic. Know that slightly outside of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. And this is where students learn resiliency and they're able to dig deep and become a great student. But do not hesitate to contact us if you're worried or something doesn't seem to be going as well. And we can help make sure that you get onto the pathway that best suits your student.
Thank you so much, because you did a great job. Math is hard. Math is in its own little beast at the moment. So we really appreciate her help. And then the last core content class is science. We've got regular, Klein Prep, and advanced. Advanced science and accelerated math are similar, just new names. Advanced science goes much quicker. They do, and correct me, team, if I'm wrong, they do all of 6th grade. They do parts of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math and advanced science, or they do 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science and advanced science. So they are moving quite quickly. You have to be in at least advanced math in order to take advanced science. So there are some prerequisites that come with advanced science. Does anybody want to add on to that? Because I just got all tongue-tied.
Yeah, we just need to add, and Mr. Harper can add to this.
Yes.
Pathway gets kiddos ready to take biology before they leave for high school. And Mr. Harper, you're over science, so you can probably say a little bit more about that, but I wanted to make sure parents knew that that was an option as well.
Absolutely. And, I think the key component that Kelly was talking about with if you are thinking about this pathway in science, you definitely want to be at least in the advanced category in math, or else they cannot continue along that path. And very similar to math and what Ms. Averkiadis was stating, in order to move out, since they work through the various curriculums for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in those first 2 years, we would really want to analyze that in January, if that is the right path for your student in making those decisions, because that would be when we'd want to pull them. And so we'd have those conversations and really look at it. But there may be also the why. Why would I want to go or have my student in this path? And there are AP and advanced courses in the high school level, both in the math and science side, that this would open up that door for those students to take those high level courses at high school. And so that would be one of the significant reasons why to move into these paths, both in the math and science.
Thank you so much. Oh, look at me. I did a slide.
It's all there. We just did like
It's all here.
forward.
I just got ahead of myself. So everything he just said is right here. You two can read this. So they'll take 3 years of science in 2 years. There you go.
Ms. Whalen,
the
if I could
success
add
criteria-
something, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
So if your student takes biology and health in 8th grade, that will allow them to participate in sports medicine as a freshman in high school.
Yes. So those are some important things to consider. We want to make sure that they perform well on STAR, that they're enrolled in advanced math, strong in problem solving and applying concepts. They're self-motivated. They really are going to have to do the studying and the homework at home. They must study every night at home in order to be successful in this advanced science class. I'm so glad that I put that in there. Okay, so you're up, Ms. Berger.
Yes. So some of the most frequently asked questions, we're just going to kind of give you very general answers. And then we can go to, if we have time, the Google form. If any of you guys have been filling out and entering questions, we can try to answer those as well. One of the questions we got often is, will there be the same type of accommodations as an elementary? The answer is yes. For the most part, our accommodations are very similar, but anything that was written into, if you have a child like I do with a 504 plan or a special education student who has IEP accommodations, those do carry over with you and your child to CRML, and your annual meetings is where we will discuss if any of those need to be changed or updated. But yes, they do carry over automatically from the elementary. A good question a couple of parents asked was how many students are in the current 6th grade class? I couldn't remember, so I looked it up at about 5:45 today, and we currently have 474 6th graders. And then another great question that came up that I didn't think about was, how do you schedule students with ADHD? Are they usually in regular on grade level or Klein Prep classes? The best answer I can give you, and other people can join in, is that we have many students with ADHD that do really well in our Klein Prep. Again, these are previously called pre-AP courses. every student is so different. So we really recommend you talking with your elementary counselor or your core content teacher at the elementary school to see what they think. We've had meetings with almost all of our elementary feeder schools. If you guys didn't know, Crimmel gets students. Next year, we will be getting students from 8 different elementary schools. That's pretty, not many people realize we get kids from so many schools, but we tried to meet with all of our elementary campuses. Our teachers are well-versed in our middle school offerings. So if you really aren't sure, I would talk with them about what they recommend. They know, like Ms. Averkiadis said, they know your child, they know their abilities, they know their work ethic, and then they would be the best people. We don't know your kiddos yet. We know them on paper with data and scores, but there's so much more that goes into that in knowing kids. So I would recommend you get with your elementary staff to help make those decisions. Another few questions were about our special education program, what types of supports we have at Crimmel. So I just listed a few. I won't go into really specific detail about all of them, but we do offer support facilitators in science and social studies classes. We have co-teachers in math and reading courses. We have a PASS program that helps students with behavior and success. We have a Making Connections program that works with students that have autism. It's a wonderful program. We have many kids and such a supportive staff that works with our kiddos in that department. We also have developmental students. So we have a little bit of everything, honestly, on our campus. It's a melting pot, and it's just a great place for kids to be at all different levels. Another question I got in the chat that many parents often have, and Miss Whalen can probably help me the most because I don't remember all of the information, but someone asked about off-campus PE. So that is an option for your student if they are involved in a program outside of school, like karate. We have many girls that do tumbling. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. They do have to be a facility that is on the approved list from Klein ISD. You can have them do off-campus PE. The majority of our students do where they have 5 hours of practice outside of the school day to count for their off-campus PE. The facility will basically sign and verify that your child's been coming to their facility for the required number of hours, and then they will be able to take an elective in place of PE. There is another program, Ms. Whalen, this is when I get confused. I think it's 9 hours.
I
15
think it's
hours?
9 to 15. Yes.
If they're involved in 9 to 15 hours of practice outside of the school day, and the facility is approved and they verify your child is coming that often, they can actually be released at the end of 7th period to use their 8th period to go to practice. So they would get credit for PE, but they would not add an elective. They would actually leave school early.
It's 15 hours.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
official.
I knew somebody would know. 15 hours minimum for early release. Ms. Whalen, remind us who they get the forms from to
So
enroll.
when you are signing up for courses at the elementary school and you're interested in off-campus PE, you'll have to signify that on your course selection sheet, and your this elementary school's registrar will get you the paperwork. There is like she said, it has to be an approved facility. And so you'll have to reach out to the athletic department for information on those lists. And it's a process. So you'll fill out the paperwork, it'll get approved and things like that if they are on that list. But that's, really for people who are already getting that physical activity outside of school. So she said tumbling, soccer, there's swim teams that are on the list, gymnastics, all kinds of things, but it needs to be something on that approved list. We are not allowed to send out the list, and so you'd have to reach out to the athletic department for information on that. But the elementary school registrar will have that paperwork for you. And you can check with your facility. The facility that you go to will know whether or not they're an approved vendor for sure.
The one thing I wanted to add is just a word of caution. Just be really careful with signing up for off-campus PE. It's a great option. My daughter did it at another intermediate school because we knew we were committed and had been going to the facility for many years. So we knew we were going to keep up with it. Sometimes parents, what we've experienced is parents will think, oh, this is going to be great. You know, I'll sign them up for these classes. But then around October, November, the kids get tired of going to the off-campus sporting facilities or what have you and don't want to go anymore. You would have to find another off-campus facility to take courses in. If for some reason they stop going, they're not going to get their PE credit. They do have to have 2 years of PE credit for middle school. Worst case scenario, if something happened and you couldn't get into another vendor, it could really change their schedule that they've had all of first semester. So we really want to prevent that. So just really be mindful to make sure that off-campus is right for you and your child. It needs to be a decision you guys need to make together and think that it's a full year commitment. You can't make changes to either on campus or off campus PE throughout the year. It will change their entire schedule usually, and they may get put into an elective that they may not like, but it may be the only one that's open at the time. So I just wanted to kind of throw that caution out.
Yes, and so if you are a fifth grade parent of an incoming sixth grader, the elementary schools will start working on course selection information, sending that home very, very soon. If you are a parent of our current sixth grader and seventh grader, Ms. Thompson and Ms. Hurst are about to explain that a little bit more about the course selection process to you. But if you have additional questions, we've got a Google form. I was going to say click the link, but you can't. So we'll put it in the chat for you and you can add questions there. And then we'll get with you. We'll either email you the answers to the questions or we'll try to answer them here. But I think that is the end of our presentation. And I know Mr. Harper would love to have a word with you all. And so I'm going to pass the mic.
All right. Just to reintroduce myself, my name is Mr. Harper, and I'm honored to be the principal at Krimmel Intermediate. I can't tell you how excited we all are to see you here tonight and how much we appreciate you giving us just a little bit of your time to get this conversation started. I want you to know that I was in the same boat that you currently are 2 years ago when my daughter started here at Krimmel in sixth grade. And I'm going to be in the boat again in 2 years when my son comes. And almost all the staff that's in this room has been in the boat that you are in tonight. So what I can say is that I promise you our goal, we have a strong staff whose goal is to take care of your students. We ask that you use that Google Doc to post any questions that you might have, and we will get back with you and personally try to get those questions answered. None of us in this room know what August is going to look like next year. It's been that kind of year of flexibility and just going with the flow. But what I can guarantee you is in August of next year, when your student sets foot on this campus or virtually, we are going to take care of them, and we're going to try to get you in a position to know that your student's going to be successful and get the highest quality education possible. Again, sticking to that vision of every student entering with a promise and exiting with a purpose. So thank you again. Thank you to Ms. Brager and Ms. Whalen. You can refer to them as your first line of defense for your incoming sixth grade students. Please reach out to them, and they are going to take care of your kids. Thank you again. Ms. Brager or Ms. Whalen, y'all have anything else you need to add?
No, thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you guys. I thank Ms. Averkiadis for being here. She has 2 girls of our own that are in high school that I know she is away from right now, as well as our other leadership. That's really hard for me to talk today, apparently. Leadership team members have kiddos that are working on homework and getting their kiddos fed. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate our staff. And I am excited to see some faces of students on the screen. Can't wait to meet you guys sooner than later. So again, if you have questions, please ask us. We may refer you back to your elementary campus. Please don't think we're not wanting to help you, but they are the experts on your child's course selections coming into 6th grade. We don't really get information on your students until our systems roll over in the summer. Miss Whalen and I are still trying to get our current 6th graders ready to move up to 7th grade. So again, we appreciate your time. I can stay on for a couple more minutes. I think we have about 5 minutes before our 7th and 8th grade session starts. But please fill out that Google form. If you have any questions, it's in the chat, and we will try to get back with you personally as soon as possible.
And the 7th and 8th grade session is going to start here pretty soon. So just if you have a current 6th grader or 7th grader, hang around. We're not going anywhere. I am going to stop sharing my screen though, so that they can start sharing there.
Hi, Spafford family. Hope you guys stick around for the next session. I'm trying to see who else I recognize as having somebody here right now with us. I love seeing y'all's faces. Mr. Darling's here. This must mean are we getting the baby? Yes, we're excited. We're excited about that.
He's so excited to be there.
We're going to give him a lot of hard times. Don't worry. Nice. Avriana, is that how you say your name? Avriana Hansen?
Yes.
That's an awesome name. I've never
Thank
seen that
you.
name before. You're welcome. Ariana's here. Nice.
Someone asked a question in the chat and my chat won't let me type. So if they asked when the deadline is for course selection, if you are a current Crummell parent, the deadline for the district deadline, you can't make any changes, is May 7th. We're asking that they get their course selections entered by February 2nd, though, so that we can make sure we get those all cleaned up. I don't know what the deadline is for elementary school parents, just because we don't have access to that at this time. But your counselor at the elementary school and the registrar will know for sure.
All right. Okay. I'm going to say bye to our incoming 6th graders. I'm going to put myself on mute. It's nice to see you guys.
Thank you everyone for being here. We're going to kick off in just a couple of minutes. Hello.
I tried to mute everybody and then I muted Ms. Thompson and Ms. Hurst. So you might want to unmute yourself. Sorry about that.
All right, we want to kind of respect our time here tonight and appreciate you being here. So we're going to get rolling. We may have a few more people coming in, and so we'll just keep working as we get this event kicked off. First, I want to welcome our criminal parents, our current 6th and 7th graders, our future 7th and 8th grader parents. My name is Mr. Harper, and I am honored to be the principal here at Criminal Intermediate. Want to introduce you to a couple of important people on our staff that are here tonight. I'm going to start with our 6th grade team who just finished their 6th grade presentation earlier. One is our assistant principal, Ms. Tanya Brager, and she works with the counselor, Ms. Kelly Whalen. Say hello, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Awesome. The next important people to know is our 7th grade team, and that is our assistant principal, Mr. Ryan Youngblood, and our counselor at the 7th grade level, Ms. Amy Thompson, who is also our lead counselor. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
And last but not least is our 8th grade team, who our assistant principal at the 8th grade level is Ms. Stephanie Langner, who works closely with our 8th grade counselor, Ms. Priscilla Hurst. Say hello, guys.
Hey everyone. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. And before I hand it over to the 7th and 8th grade teams, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that here at Criminal, we are dedicated to supporting our district vision of every student entering with a promise and exiting with a purpose. And tonight supports that vision by building community. And I just cannot say how appreciative we are that you would give us some of your time tonight to talk about an important topic, and that is our course selection for our 7th and 8th grade 8th graders for next year. Please know, I know you also have a lot of questions about what August will look like next year, and know that we don't have that information, but as soon as we get it, we will definitely provide that to you. But know that whatever on campus or online looks like in August of next year, this team is dedicated to supporting your students and providing them the highest level of support possible. One person I left out, and I can't believe I left her out, but I'm going to call her out tonight. With us tonight is Ms. Trisha Averkiadis. She is our math specialist who will be talking to us a little bit about math. And so we want to thank her for being here tonight. Trisha, can you say, Ms. Averkiadis, can you say hello?
Hi, guys.
Almost forgot. Saved it at the last minute. But with that being said, thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you for giving us your time. And I'm going to hand it over to our 7th and 8th grade teams.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Harper. And I'm going to second what he said, that no matter what the fall looks like, we are committed to providing the best education, the best experience that your kids can have next year. We're excited about having them. We love these kids. We're loving getting to know them, mask and all. They're such great kids. So we're so thrilled that you have given us your time tonight to join and talk about course selection. We know it can be sometimes an overwhelming topic, especially if this is your first kiddo going through intermediate school and you're starting to think about high school courses in the future. It can be a little overwhelming, but we don't want it to be that for you. We want it to be a simple process, and we want you to feel like you can reach out to us. Our job is to advocate for your student and for their education. So we're going to give you all the information that we have. We're going to send you to a bunch of different places so you can do your own research and education. And then any questions that you have, please send them our way. There's a Google form in the chat box. So please let us know. If we don't answer your question tonight, we will be responding to those questions. We'll have your email. So please reach out. Let us know how we can help, because we definitely want to. So how do we get started on course selection? We started today with the kids. It was a busy day. We were excited to kick off course selection in Quest. So I put some links on this presentation, and we also have the presentation in the chat, so you have access to these links. The Promise to Purpose website is the first place I want to take you. And this website is something that we use daily as counselors, and we send it to parents because it's a wealth of information looking from intermediate school all the way through high school. You can get the big picture here on this website. One thing I want to point out is there is a course selection there it is, the intermediate school course guide. This is every intermediate course that we offer in Klein ISD, along with course descriptions for each of them. So this is a great resource for you. You can also look at the high school course guides if you're wanting to think, well, how does this lead into high school, and you're wanting to go ahead and look further. You can look at those as well. It also gives you all kinds of information about pathways and endorsements, which we're going to talk about here in a little while with Ms. Hurst. So Promise to Purpose website, a great one to bookmark on your computer because it's something that's really helpful, and you'll find a lot of answers there. The second place you can go for information is our course selection dashboard. This dashboard is linked on our criminal counseling webpage. To get to our criminal counseling webpage, you'll go to the criminal website, click on counseling, and it'll take you straight to this page. Scroll over to the right and down to the course selection dashboard. This website is all about criminal course selection, and there's a lot of really great information here. There's a timeline, pardon me, that shows you what we're working on, the dates that we are going by for criminal. For us, we started today, January 19th. They watched a course selection presentation in their Quest class, and their Google form opened today, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then it gives you some more information about what's coming up. The Klein Pathway Summit, January 30th. I highly recommend it. Go to the Klein ISD website. We've also posted some information on Schoology. It's a really great event. It'll be virtual, but it's going to be fantastic. And then, so the timeline is right there when everything is due. So that's a good resource for you. Also on this dashboard, students can go to the 7th or 8th grade tab, and this will outline for you all of the courses that we are offering next year on our campus. It'll give you course descriptions, and it'll also provide you a video to watch that the teachers submitted, and they're really great videos. I definitely encourage you to sit down, look through the videos. I watched the theater arts video today, and it is fantastic. So really check those videos out. The teachers and the kids worked really hard on them, and we're pretty proud. I want to point out one thing that you might have noticed is under the English courses right there, you can see it says English 7 Klein Prep. So Klein Prep is new this year. Before, if you have gone through intermediate school before, and well, with your current kiddos, maybe they're taking pre-AP courses. We are no longer going to be using the term pre-AP. We are going to go to Klein Prep. It's the same coursework. It's the same rigor. It is going to help these kids get ready for AP courses in high school. We've just changed the name. So if you were wondering, what's that Klein Prep? It's pre-AP. Same thing, new Klein name. Okay, so we definitely want you to check out the criminal course selection dashboard. All right, the third place that I want to take you to is Schoology. And Schoology is, and actually you can go to the next slide, Ms. Hurst, and we'll show them what it's going to look like, and then we can go back. Oh, it's not on that one. Maybe it's the next slide. Yes. So in their Schoology course, their grade level Schoology course, this is where we were today. In, let's say, the 7th grade course or the 6th grade course, there's a course selection folder. In that course selection folder are all of the documents that your students need to guide them through course selection. And we put a lot of stuff in there because we wanted to make sure you had everything you need. There's a link to the course selection dashboard. There is a video presentation that the students watched in Quest today. There is a how-to video. So parents, maybe you're online with your students or a KOL student. There's an online how to help your kids through the course selection process. I walk you through the entire process step by step. There's also a cheat sheet. Maybe you don't want to listen to my voice and you just want to look at it on pictures. We put a cheat sheet in there as well. There's a link to the Promise to Purpose website. And then there is the final submission course selection Google form, which is how your student will submit their final choices for their course selections. Okay, we can go backwards. Sorry, Ms. Hurst, I threw you off there. All right, so our next steps with your student. First, we encouraged our students today after Quest, take this information home, take the draft course selection form, the paper copy, and talk about it with mom and dad. Talk about what courses you want to take next year. Look at the course selection dashboard together. Watch the videos, read about the courses, decide what courses are perfect for you for the 7th or the 8th grade. Once you have decided, and you can write all over that draft form if you want. The reason we gave it to them is because I like to have something to write on sometimes. And I thought, I'd like to go in there and circle and highlight or cross out. We are not picking up those paper forms. It is just for you to work through together and have discussions. All right, so that final course selection Google form is in that Schoology folder that I just showed you. And one thing I want to mention to you is that Google form can only be submitted one time. So we want you to make sure you're having lots of conversations, and when you're ready and you know what you want to take, go ahead and submit that Google form. What'll happen then is we will be submitting those courses into Skyward. Your students actually will input them into Skyward at the beginning of February. Now, that's not set in stone yet. If you decide a month away from now, you know what, I don't think we want to do those courses anymore, we change our mind, you will be able to change those. So don't feel like you won't have that opportunity. There will be opportunities for you to change those course requests all the way up until May 7th. May 7th is our hard deadline. We get that from Klein ISD. So that is when no more course changes will occur, is that May 7th deadline. All right. I just wanted to point out there were a few new classes that we offered last year. We're offering them again this year. They're new career and technical education courses that they're bringing down to the intermediate school. Before, they were only offered at the high school level, and they're bringing them down to us so they can offer even more high-level courses at the high school. So these are great opportunities. Principles of Law Enforcement for 8th grade only. Principles of Business, Marketing, and Finance, also for 8th grade only. Offered for 7th and 8th graders this next year, Fundamentals of Computer Science. You can find out more about these things in the Criminal Dashboard, the Promise to Purpose, and the Intermediate Course Catalog. All right, so I know you've probably got questions, so hang on to them until the end, or put them on the Google form because we want to answer them. I know I went through a lot of information pretty quickly. So hang on to your questions. I'm gonna let Ms. Hurst go over what high school endorsements look like, just so you can start thinking about endorsements and preparing for high school.
Okay, so for our 8th graders, this year, they will be choosing an endorsement or a pathway, and it's similar to choosing a major in college. So we have 5 categories. There's STEM, business and industry, public service, arts and humanities, and multidisciplinary. And within those categories, there's many, many different subcategories. And so I would encourage you to go to this Promise to Purpose website to do your research, because there are so many different pathways that they can choose from. And it's great if your student starts researching now in 6th and 7th grade, so that when they get to 8th grade, they feel prepared. And just know that they don't have to know what they want to do for the rest of their lives by the time they get to 8th grade. They can change their pathway at any time. They're not married to it. And it's just something that's going to guide them as to what kind of elective courses to take when they get to high school. So here are some important high school course selection nights that we have coming up. Our Klein-Cain CTE elective and course selection info night is coming up on January 28th. And then we have our virtual pathway summit, which is on January 30th. That's a Saturday from 9 to 1. And then the Klein Oak Pie Night is going to be Thursday, February 4th. These are all going to be virtually on Zoom. And Klein High does not have a high school night, but they do have a course selection website, just like Klein Oak and Klein-Cain. So if you do have a current 8th grader, I would recommend that they go to those websites and start doing their research as to find out what kind of courses they offer at their specific high school, because it does vary by high school. Some other important dates are the IB application is due February 5th. And if your child is interested in the accelerated college pathways, that application is due February 26th. And you can learn about the different accelerated college pathways on the Promise to Purpose website. We have advanced nursing, geospatial engineering and land surveying, and global business. And just know that some of these are only offered at specific high schools. Advanced nursing is offered at Klein High. Geospatial engineering is at Klein Collins, and global business is at Klein Forest. And our IB program is actually at Klein Oak. And the exciting thing about the accelerated college pathways is that these pathways allow your student to graduate high school with an associate's degree. So they do have to apply for it. Okay, are there any questions? You can feel free to unmute or drop your questions in the chat.
I'd like to mention just a couple of other things before, and we'll take your questions for sure. So if your student is thinking about one of these accelerated pathways, and I know you might be thinking, well, my student is going to be an 8th grader, or my student's going to be a 7th grader, we'd love to have those conversations with your student to make sure that they're on the pathway to reach that accelerated pathway. So if you're interested, just let us know, have your student reach out to us, and we'd love to have those conversations with them to prepare them for high school. I know it seems like we're already preparing for high school, but we are, and that's okay. It's an exciting thing. It shouldn't be scary. I also want to mention we had some questions about foreign language in our Google form that we sent out last week. We had a lot of parents asking about foreign language credit for high school. You do need 2 years of a foreign language credit to graduate from high school. You do not have to take it at intermediate school. You can. We do offer Spanish and French here at Krimmel. And one parent had asked if 1 year of Spanish or French at Krimmel is the same as 1 year at the high school. It is. So if your student took Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 here at Krimmel, they will have received their 2 years of foreign language credit that they need to graduate, and they won't have to take that at high school. They may decide they want to take something else in intermediate school, maybe some of the CTE, and put off foreign language till the high school, and they can do that as well. There might be a different foreign language your student wants to take other than Spanish or French, and they do offer more languages at the high school level. So, but I just wanted to put that out there because we have had quite a few questions about foreign language credits. What other questions do you have?
Ms. Thompson, there was a question in the chat about how many electives 7th graders get to choose.
Great question. Seventh graders will take their second year of PE, and then they will take 2 other electives after that. So most sixth graders, they take their fine arts credit and their PE credit. And so in seventh grade, if they've already taken their fine arts credit, they can take 2 electives and their PE credit. And then in eighth grade, they have 3 electives. For intermediate school, they need 1 year of a fine art credit and 2 years of physical education credit.
Another question, Ms. Thompson, is what does CTE stand for when you talk about electives?
Good question. CTE is career and technical education.
And then they want to know, there was a question, a great question. Is there a push for the trades programs, not just focused on college? Because as we know, not every student is college ready.
Absolutely. That's a great question. They are opening up a lot of different trades in the high school level. They have some really fantastic programs. We've been talking to some students specifically about the HVAC program that they have over at Klein Cain. There's welding programs at several schools that are really good. Kids are exiting and graduating already out in the workforce. So for us, we do not have any of those courses yet, but we would love to talk to your kids about that because there's some really cool things that our high schools offer. And I encourage you to look on the Promise to Purpose website because you'll find more information about them there. Some really cool things, but definitely we want to steer your kids in that direction if that's the way they want to go. We want our kids to be successful, whichever path that they choose.
Another question, Ms. Thompson, is what are the requirements for athletics this year or next school year?
Okay, great. So the coaches are going to start talking to kids in PE about athletics. That is something that they can apply for. They work through the spring semester, what it looks like to be in athletics, that it's a little bit more rigorous. It's the kids who are wanting to play the team sports. So if your child is considering athletics, interested in athletics, then they definitely want to reach out to their PE teacher and get some more information, but they will be discussing that in PE in the coming months.
Another question is, would a student be eligible to take biology in 8th grade if they took 6th grade science, Klein Prep, and 7th grade advanced?
So to take biology in 8th grade, they will need to have been in advanced science for 6th and 7th grade to take biology in 8th grade. Okay, I see a question about can 7th graders have advanced classes if they haven't had advanced classes in 6th grade? They absolutely can. What I would recommend is that they talk to their classroom teachers. I've had some students asking me that very question, can I sign up for advanced next year? And I said, yes. I said, talk to your teacher and it's a good conversation. Do you think that I could do advanced? The only one that might be a little more tricky would be math. And maybe I could throw that out to Ms. Averkiades if you want to just say just kind of a little word about math, the math pathway.
So absolutely. We have some 6th graders right now that are considering doing 7th grade pre-AP. That is a conversation that you would want to include your parents in, your teacher, as well as your counselor. The question I'm concerned about is the one that asks about switching to the accelerated pathway. Once you finish 6th grade, you cannot switch to the accelerated pathway. You can do the advanced pathway for sure in math, but the accelerated pathway must start at the beginning of your 6th grade school year, and then you transition to algebra and geometry. So yes, you can definitely switch to pre-AP or Klein Prep as a 7th grader, but you cannot jump onto the accelerated pathway in 7th grade.
And I really encourage kiddos to take the advanced classes. They really help them. If your student is ready for an advanced class, it's going to help them prepare for high school because high school is a a whole other level. I've some of my ninth graders that came back to me this year, and I said, what would you have me tell my current seventh graders? And they said, oh, Miss Thompson, tell them to pay attention and to do their homework. Because they need to get ready for high school, because it's different. It's harder. It is. And so these more advanced classes, they help the kids learn how to be a rigorous learner. They learn how to take some initiative. They learn how to study. Organization's a big thing you have to learn when you're taking an advanced class as well.
As well as advocating for yourself. Once you enter these advanced pathways, not only here at Crummell, but whatever high school it is that you are zoned to, you want to develop the ability to ask questions and advocate for yourself and your needs with your teacher. Go up to them and say, hey, when is tutoring? I want to show up and learn. What can I do? This isn't working out for me. And so it's a great time for students to really exercise their voice before they enter high school.
These are all really great questions. What other questions do you have? Let me say just one other thing about athletics, because the students always ask me this. Can I sign up for athletics on my course selection form? And the answer is no, because the athletics or the coaches are the ones who choose students to be in the athletics program. So what I have students do is everyone signs up for PE, and then the coaches send the counselors the list of students who will be in athletics, and then we move those kids into that course number. So if your student is interested in athletics, awesome. Tell them to tell their PE coach, and chances are their PE coach knows the kids who are interested in athletics. They'll be having those conversations, and then they will let us know, hey, these are the kids who are going to be in athletics, and then we'll change those course numbers for them.
I would like to clarify we have 3 levels of math as a sixth grader. We have sixth grade on level, we have sixth grade advanced, and then we have sixth grade accelerated. The sixth grade accelerated, you are taking 6th, 7th, and 8th grade all at the same time. And that course is only available to 6th graders. We don't put 7th graders in an accelerated course. 7th graders move on to the advanced pathway. And so when you want to be on the accelerated pathway, you enter it as a 6th grader, and then we move you forward. Those 6th grade accelerated transitions to algebra and then transitions to geometry throughout their time here at Crummell. But you can be on the advanced pathway in either 6th, 7th, or transition then to just algebra.
So I did see a question about the accelerated college pathways and whether or not you have to be zoned to those schools to attend. So you do not, for the advanced nursing, the geospatial engineering, global business, and for the IB program, you do not have to be zoned to those schools, but you do have to provide your own transportation. The only one where you do need to be zoned to the school is for the Klein-Cain Honors College pathway. They only accept students that are zoned to Klein-Cain.
There's a question here. How many level high school classes can the 8th graders take? And I hope I'm answering your question right. They can take, I mean, as many as they want, or as many as their pathway allows them to take. So if you have specific questions about that, let your counselor know. I do want to note that high school classes, you will get the credit on your high school transcript for taking those high school classes, but the grade will not count in your GPA on the high school campus. So your GPA for high school does not start until your student is in that school building. So even though they will receive high school credit for the high school classes that they take over here, that will not be in their grade point average.
In answering the advanced question, yes, the advanced pathway leads you to being algebra ready as an 8th grade student. So you'll take the algebra high school course as an 8th grader, and then you'll start geometry when you get to high school. Whereas the accelerated path, has you taking the high school algebra course as a 7th grader, the high school geometry course as an 8th grader, and then you're ready for algebra 2 when you hit the high school year. If you are currently taking 7th grade advanced math, yes, you will immediately be sent to algebra. You cannot take 8th grade after 7th grade advanced. You've already earned your 8th grade credit according to TEA. And so after 7th grade pre-AP or 7th grade Klein Prep, you would go to algebra as an 8th grade student.
Okay, good question, Gerardo. No, you will not have to take algebra again. They will get credit for taking high school algebra. So if they take high school algebra in 7th grade, then they'll take high school geometry in 8th grade and they'll go to algebra 2 in 9th grade. Or if they take algebra next year as an 8th grader, then they will go on to take geometry as a freshman. So as long as they pass that course, they get credit for taking that course.
I would also really recommend, because the math is so confusing, I would also really recommend looking at the course selection dashboard and the promise to purpose, because it does go into great detail about the specifics. And I can hear Ms. Vergiatis explaining it to me, but I need to read it in order for it to make sense in my brain. And so I would really recommend that. It's a great spot for all that information.
So yes, Katie, math is the unique one, which is why I'm here tonight. We have 3 pathways, 3 levels. Think like super fast, and trucking along. And so if your child is currently sitting in 6th grade pre-AP, they're definitely on an advanced path. They're going to leave Krimmel with 1 high school math course. But that particular path, if they're on 6th grade pre-AP right now, would be 7th grade pre-AP and then algebra. But they are definitely on a advanced path. The accelerated path is just way faster.
So someone, I think you're Kelly, I think is who asked a great question. Is there a benefit to taking foreign language in intermediate school compared to high school? It's totally up to your kiddo. It's one option. So some kids do better to wait. Some kids just want to go ahead and take it in intermediate. I don't know that there's a benefit one way or the other. It just depends on your kiddo.
Annie, you mind if I add into that a little bit?
I would love it if you added into that.
Yeah, so it's just some thoughts about that, because they do have to have 2 credits to graduate in the foreign language. One example of why you would think about it is maybe those students are thinking about extended advanced courses in foreign language like Spanish 3, Spanish 4. And so kind of moving that path along opens up more options along that advanced pathway in foreign languages. Also, you may have some people who are interested in other areas. Like I was a band director. And so when I was going through high school, I was very interested in like jazz band, music theory, and those type of coursework for me. And so getting those foreign languages out of the way kind of opened up my schedule a little bit to be able to take some of those courseworks that I was interested in. So those are just sort of the mind frames you'd want to kind of be in deciding if you wanted to go taking those foreign languages at the intermediate level. But do know it's kind of considered an advanced course at the intermediate. So you'd want your student to be pretty strong in those language skills and taking those courses at intermediate.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Harper. That's very true. And also, if you're wanting to look into an accelerated pathway, you might want to go ahead and take those foreign languages so your schedule's more open.
One of the things that we really haven't ever mentioned in any of our Rising Knights presentations is the fact that once your student gets to 7th grade or 8th grade and they start exploring some of these high school courses here, they also get to explore their very first final exam or midterm, which will be something that they do with every course in the high school. It was very beneficial for my now freshman daughter over at Oak to have gotten a chance to experience what it was to have a midterm or a final exam here at the middle school level with a little bit of a safety net underneath her and a little bit of lots of motherly love around her. And so that's also a great reason to explore high school courses while you're here at Krimmel. It allows you to sample some of the stuff you'll experience at high school, but on a smaller scale.
Al asked a really great question. What are the benefits of taking pre-AP English and science in relation to their pathway to high school? I really recommend pre-AP for students that want to prepare to take more advanced courses in high school. So maybe they want to take AP English and AP science classes once they get to high school. The pre-AP, or now that we're moving to Klein Prep, those courses are going to help teach your student how to be a little bit, I'm going blank. They're going to teach them a little bit more initiative. They're going to teach them study skills. It's a little bit more independent learning, which is preparing them for high school courses that are higher level. So it's a good opportunity for your kids to learn to be a strong student if that's the right pathway for them. And we talk a lot about advanced courses and accelerated courses. That's not everybody's pathway. So we want you to remember that sometimes the regular on-level pathway is the best pathway for kiddos. So, and we'd love to talk to you about that with your kids. And we're having those discussions right now with our current students. So just let us know if you have more specific questions about that.
And I know this has been said, but we are monitoring the Google Forms with questions. And if we don't answer your question tonight, we will make sure we get back to you via email and answer all those questions.
Mr. Garcia, I know we offer some coding classes here at Crimmel. I believe most high schools offered coding classes, and then there is a geospatial pathway, I believe, that's done through Klein
Collins.
Collins. I knew it was one of the Klein, whatever.
Mhm.
It's rather new, but as somebody asked earlier, and I think I answered it in the chat, a great question if you have students that are interested in the advanced pathways, you don't have to be zoned to those schools. So for example, you don't have to be zoned to Klein Collins to do the geospatial engineering pathway, but many of those pathways and programs do have an application and acceptance process. I know advanced nursing will come over in the spring and actually interview kids that have applied for that program. IB does the same thing. So you don't have to necessarily be zoned to those schools, but they're not automatically always accepted into the programs because sometimes they are limited in numbers.
Yeah, so the geospatial engineering program would allow students to graduate high school with an associate's degree or 2 years worth of college credit. And our course selection Google form is due February 2nd. It'll be open for 2 weeks, starting today.
So athletics, we offer in 7th and 8th grade, we have a volleyball team, basketball, football. We have a swim team, track, cross country, and tennis. Did I leave anybody out? I think that's it. So those are the sport team sports that we offer. We are recording the Zoom, yes. So we will provide this information. I want to say, as we're starting to kind of wrap up, I know this stuff can be so overwhelming. And when you start thinking about high school and pathways and college, please be encouraged that your students, when they get to high school, if they change their mind, they can. If they change their mind twice, they can. So don't feel that you have to decide now as a 6th grader what you're going to do, that you're going to go into geospatial engineering or whatever it is. We want your kid to explore. We want your kid to be excited about the future, not stressed about the future. We offer so many wonderful things in Klein, so many great pathways, but we don't want you to stress that you have to choose everything today and that it's it's set in stone. It's not. I could promise you I have two daughters, one that's already graduated through Klein Oak and one that graduates this year through Klein Oak. She started in ninth grade thinking she was going to be a teacher. She took the education course and said, nope, I'm not going to be a teacher. So please be encouraged. I know it seems overwhelming, but when your kids get over there, they'll be able to change their mind. We want them to explore and determine, what do I want to do one day? What are the opportunities that are out there for me? Okay, so I want to throw that out there because I know I've been in your shoes as parents when I've had my first intermediate student coming through, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, and you want to make sure that you're setting your kiddo up for success, and so do we. Absolutely. But we also don't want you to stress too much about it.
And I saw a question about the accelerated college pathway. It has nothing to do with what you took in sixth grade, but there is an application process that would begin your eighth grade year. So you would need to apply, be interviewed, and then if you're accepted into the program, then at that time, you would choose your courses, but it has nothing to do with what you took in sixth grade.
All right, if we could drop that Google form in here one more time. We're going to put that up there for you guys to ask some more questions. We will email you. All of our email addresses are on the website. Please go find us. We are all here to help you, counselors and administrators alike. But we definitely want to honor your time tonight. So we're going to kind of start wrapping up here. Did anybody else have any parting words or anything that I have forgotten before we close out for the evening?
Yes, just to clarify, you can take, there is a seventh grade pre-AP or Klein Prep. We call it advanced pathway, but the accelerated pathway for math starts only in sixth grade. Once you're on that path in sixth grade, those students immediately go to algebra in seventh grade. So if you are going into seventh grade right now and you want to go ahead and try to gather a high school math credit, you'd want to be on the advanced pathway.
If there are questions after the presentation, we're going to have both presentations on our counseling website with links to the Google form, so you can put your questions there, or you can email your child's counselor specifically, and we'll get back to you for sure as well.
And yes, you can, once you exit Krimmel and you get ready to go to high school, you can jump onto the Klein Prep pathway in high school as well. That is available in the ninth grade.
So course selections are going on right now. The Google form is open in their grade level Schoology course, so they can click on that Google form and go ahead and fill it out when you're ready to go with the course selections. They close on February 2nd, and then a couple weeks after that, we'll be entering those courses into Skyward. I hope that answers your question. You're welcome. So the site where you can find all the information, really Schoology, the grade level Schoology course, everything is in the course selection folder per grade level. You can also look at the course selection dashboard, which we can link right here in the chat for you. That's where you're going to see all of the course descriptions. All right, well, unless you have any other questions or want to jump on the Google form and drop those questions in there for us to email you, we thank you so much for giving us your time this evening. It's been wonderful to see your faces and your names and be able to spend some time with you guys on behalf of your students. We are here to answer any other questions that you have. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.